You'll find us today basking under the Mediterranean sun, wandering a charming village of pastel villas. Hang on, you're in Italy. Have you two been hitting up the EasyJet sale?
Nope, we're in Portmeirion.
Portmeirion? Where's that?
Wales.
Wales, and it's not peeing down and is in fact 30 degrees?
Yes.
Well, shear my sheep and call me Bryn. It looks like we are indeed in Wales, all set for a cracking day out. If you don't know us, I'm Rachel, he's Wills, and we are Postcard and a Pint. Join us as we ask, is a day out in Portmeirion worth it? Go on, hit us up with some numbers.
We've paid £20 per person. You do get your parking included in that. Let's head inside and see, is this worth it?
Well, the weather is feeling very Italy today. The short shorts are on. After passing through this lovely shaded arch, we gave our booking number in at one of the ticket booths, got our tickets, and we were all good to go. Now, what's to be first? Some history? The prisoner? Ah, you're seeking out a healthy lunch. No, my mistake. It's going to be an ice cream, isn't it? Anyone there? Jolly good. Suitably cooled, it was time to make our way into the Italian Riviera, in Wales. Signor Whippy led the way, and we entered a little slice of Italy in Wales. But what exactly is this place?
Portmeirion was the vision of Clough Williams-Ellis.
He was a Welsh architect. He was born in 1883 and had a vision.
He wanted to show how a naturally beautiful site could be developed without spoiling it.
In 1925, he acquired this piece of land, then known as Abiyar Estate. Over the next 50 years, he transformed it into the now famous Italian-style village of Portmeirion. Clough was well ahead of his time as an upcycler, as
during the early to mid-20th century, many grand British houses were being demolished due to high taxes.
So he was able to pick up furniture, ornaments, sometimes even full ceilings from these decaying country houses. These pieces were brought here and lovingly placed and nestled within this masterpiece. Yes,
Portmeirion is a home for fallen buildings.
Clough claimed that he didn't model Portmeirion on any one Italian village. Instead, said that he was inspired by the general atmosphere, colours and romance of the Mediterranean coastal towns. It certainly felt like Italy today. As well as upcycling from stately homes, this giant Buddha is from the film The Inn of the Sixth Happiness, which was filming in Snowdonia in 1957. What a stunning outlook it has now. The central piazza is probably the most iconic and recognisable part of the village. Everywhere you look, cherubs and beautiful flowers make every step here very special. Most people recognise this place as the filming location for the surreal British TV series The Prisoner. It starred Patrick McGoohan, and Clough Williams-Ellis was delighted filming was to take place here, as he'd always intended Portmeirion to be like a stage set. Many other creatives have been here across the years. Noel Coward famously wrote Blithe Spirit here in 1941. H.G. Wells has stayed here. Brian Epstein, the Beatles manager, regularly stayed here, and both Paul McCartney and George Harrison have visited too. But of course, Will's favourite fact.
For those eagle-eyed Iron Maiden fans out there, this behind me, on the Legacy of the Beast tour, when they were doing the song The Prisoner, that was the backdrop.
Nah, give me Blithe Spirit any day. As well as these beautifully romantic buildings, you'll find a life-size chessboard. Clough had a vision of Portmeirion as a place of leisure, play and theatrical delight. There was certainly a tense game going on today. Leaving the piazza, you'll find fountains and various accommodations that can be booked to stay in. July and August is also peak time for the many hydrangeas on site. It was time to make our way down to the water. That pool belongs to the hotel, but more about that in a minute. Every arch you come across frames a stunning view. And every wall is an opportunity for a painting. Down by the water, you'll find the Hotel Portmeirion. This is an original building around which the entire village was designed. It has stunning views across the Dwyrid estuary towards Snowdonia. If you'd like to stay here, in the high season you're looking at about £300 per night. The views are incredible though. There are lots of walking trails in Portmeirion, but before we start on one of those, we think it's time for a drink. Wouldn't you say, Rach? Yes, I would. Somehow it's 30 degrees in Wales and we just can't cope. In we go. We joined the queue for a drink. Got us a refreshing shandy. and enjoyed our drinks in the lounge. To be honest, this hotel looks a bit posh for us. So posh, in fact, there was even a lunchtime harpist. That was lovely, but now it's time for a walk. Portmeirion has between 19 and 20 miles of walking paths in its grounds. We decided to head along the front and visit the lighthouse before heading up into the woods. Once again, every arch framed a view, and the village looked like the Cinque Terre. As you can see, as soon as we left the village behind, there's hardly a soul about. We're going the right way, and the trees did give some much-needed shade. There are a lot of exotic plants and trees on site, but more of that later. How are you two enjoying your day? Quite a lot by the looks of it, and well done. That looks like a lighthouse. Don't be fooled, this isn't a functional lighthouse. It's an ornamental folly, built to enhance the maritime feel of the village. And we were feeling very nautical. We spent a bit of time looking out over the beach, but decided to come back later when the tide was out. Back into the forest it was. Lovely hydrangeas, but what are you trying to find now, Wills?
We're trying to find the Japanese lake and the pet cemetery. Now, I think we've gone the wrong way. I think we're a bit lost, but if we keep on going this way, we think we should be able to get up there, which is where we think it is.
He was, of course, wrong, and our path went steadily downhill until we were back in the village. At this point, I took over map reading duties. We passed through the village once again, but this time headed out at the top end. And may I just add, the correct end. Rach?
Every time we do one of our Wales compilations, people always say, oh, you missed out Portmeirion. And we know. We have been here before. We came here in the very, very early days of the channel, possibly in our first sort of 10 videos or so. And it belted down. All day we got wet, it was windy, it was cold, and we always wanted to show this place as it was intended to be, like an Italian village in the Italian sunshine. Talk about extremes, it's about 30 degrees today. It is so hot, it is too hot, but it looks stunning.
Moaning about the weather again.
So rest assured, in the next Wales compilation video, Portmeirion will be in there.
Botany was a fashionable and serious science in Clough's time, and the sheltered microclimate here was perfect for experimentation.
Clough introduced plants and tree species from all around the world. Some were in a formal setting, some were left to be wild. It's really, really beautiful. You're wandering through like a wild wood, and then all of a sudden there's this crazy tree that we don't see here in the UK every day. It's fascinating.
From Chinese water firs to Himalayan rhododendrons, it's stunning.
And it smells amazing.
The tree trail is one of the hidden highlights of Portmeirion. It's a beautiful way to explore the lush woodland known as a gwyllt, meaning the wild place. There are 80 significant trees here, including 57 that are champion trees, meaning they're the tallest, widest or otherwise largest of their kind in Britain. The trail winds through shaded valleys, past lily ponds, hidden statues and viewpoints. We weren't walking it all today. We'd come to find the Chinese garden. A lonely pagoda and a roped walkway. I think we found it.
This is the Chinese lake.
Pay no attention to her. It's the Chinese garden. It's designed as a romantic interpretation of a Chinese garden, not an authentic replica. It feels like a little slice of the East lost in a wild woodland. It makes for a really tranquil walk. Next up for us was to be the dog cemetery. Give us your thoughts on today, Rach.
We have to say, it's a Sunday in July, possibly one of the hottest days of the year. It's absolutely beautiful, and there are loads of people on site, but there's no one here in the woods. If you want to come for a walk, you will find bits just for you.
And what's next, Wills?
And now we're off to the dog cemetery to pay our respects to little Benji.
Strangely enough, this was one of our favourite places from our last visit. This cemetery predates Clough Williams-Ellis. It was started by Caton Hay, the previous owner of the Abayar estate. He loved dogs, and whenever a pet dog died, he had them buried here in this quiet spot under the trees. Look at all the sticks for them to play with. But we didn't film Benji's grave today. What a beautiful final resting place for these dogs. But
it is sad, but it's also really peaceful and lovely in here. And I'd like to think that at night, at midnight, they all come out and they play and they chase sticks.
I think they do. Next up, we happened upon this pair of strays, and Wills, who does sound for a living, ballsed it up. The gist of this is Jules and Ollie. They are currently working on the refit at Wills's Theatre 65 miles away. And randomly, we've all met up in a dog cemetery in Portmeirion. Crazy! Hiya, lads! Right, let's leave the dog cemetery and find us a dancing tree. And I don't know why you're so jovial. You can't even turn on a mic. And it's your job. Tragic. That tree looks like it's dancing to me. Told you, it's a very exotic looking tree. It is in fact a Griselina littoris. Sounds a bit like. Anyway, moving on. There's only so much time you can watch a tree dance. It was time to be on our way. Next up, the tide was sufficiently out now to explore the beach. We first visited a viewpoint and then made our way down to the sand. It's a lovely beach, but do be aware that the sand is what we call estuary sand, so can be a bit muddy when the tide first goes out. It's amazing to think that just an hour ago, this was all underwater. The tide leaves some great swimming spots though. It also leaves behind a few jellyfish. When you see the sight from the air with Estuary National Park behind, you can see how truly special this place is. Now, did you get in the water? Too right we did, and it was gorgeous. Wow, Clough Williams-Ellis, did you ever succeed in your mission? And I think that this was the perfect day to explore this stunning sight. Shoes back on, it was back to the village via more framed views for some lunch. What we'd have given for a dip in the hotel's pool today. There are a good variety of food choices in Portmeirion. What did we go for today?
Not a moment too soon. Lunch, I've gone for a vegan falafel wrap with hummus. It's absolutely delicious. It's very, very spicy. It was £9, so probably London prices, but I feel like I'm in an Italian piazza.
Very nice. Wills?
And I've gone Welsh lamb kofta kebab. It's very nice. £10.50. Bit steep, but very tasty.
So tasty, in fact, that Reginald Robin wanted in on our lunch. And Julie got his own way. We went for a walk around some of the gift shops. You've probably heard of Portmeirion pottery. It was founded in 1960 by Susan Williams-Ellis and her husband, Susan being the daughter of Clough. Their most famous design is Botanic Garden, and there's a whole section of Portmeirion pottery for sale in this shop, just off the main piazza. They also sell local spirits and plenty of prisoner merch. On the opposite side of the piazza, at the top of the hill, is the official prisoner shop, and it's part of the North Wales Film and Television Trail. There's plenty of merch inside, even masks should you fancy one. Having never watched The Prisoner, there was nothing here for us, but there was one more thing we wanted to see. There's a gazebo in the woods that gives the view of Portmeirion. Just take a look at this. It's breathtaking, Rach?
And if you want the money shot, come up to the gazebo. You can see it down from the bottom, and the views from up here are incredible.
And that was our day in Portmeirion. There is one other building on the site that we haven't mentioned, and that's Castell Deudraeth. It was originally built in the Victorian era, and Clough acquired it for the site in 1931. Various setbacks delayed the opening, but in 2001 it opened as a 4-star hotel and looks incredible. There's just time for us to fly back to the gazebo with that incredible view to give you our thoughts.
Wasn't that fab?
And I tell you what, it's certainly better in the sunshine, but was it worth £20? Well, you'll have to join us back home over a pint, a little catch up, and we'll tell you what we thought.
Well, wasn't that an absolutely idyllic day?
It was indeed.
It was absolutely beautiful, but the question, is it worth it? I'm going to say yes and no.
Oh, go on.
If you go there and you just want to see the village, it's very small and you can get around that village half an hour, an hour. There's not a great deal to see.
Few shops, few food places.
Yeah, and the food prices are quite expensive.
Yeah.
So if that's all you want, then £20 is a lot of money. But if you want to go on all the walking trails, see all the Chinese gardens, the different trees.
There's miles of walks on.
We've only done a fraction of it.
We wanted to go to the Ghost Garden.
Still haven't got there. There's like loads of beach. If it's a day like we had and you want to spend some time on the beach, I think it's really good value.
We could have spent a good few more hours, couldn't we?
We spent 5 hours there, so 20 quid, including parking, like £4 an hour.
Not bad.
Not bad at all. We could easily have spent another hour.
Or two.
And if we wanted to do it as a leisure day out, taken our swimming stuff and spent some time on the beach, it would have been...
I'd love to have gone in that pool.
Oh, that hotel pool kept beckoning us. It was, yeah. So it depends what you want out of it. If you're a big fan of The Prisoner and you're not going to leave the site apart from that, yeah, it's nice, but yeah, that's mine. I personally, it's good for us.
I'm the same. I enjoyed the walks. I mean, the village is what you go and see, but the walks were just lovely. I love the pet cemetery. Talking of the pet cemetery, quick shout out for the boys, Jules and Ollie. I can't believe I messed up the audio in that. I mean, what an idiot. Anyway, basically, they're the guys who were doing them, and a chap called Kurt as well. Shout out to Kurt as well. They're the guys who are doing the electrical install in the theatre I work in at the moment. And they are my saviours. They're my gurus at the moment. Anytime something doesn't work or I don't know how to use it, which is more often than not, I'm like, Kurt, Jules, Ollie, how'd you fix it? Anyway, good to see you guys. Thanks very much.
So funny that I've never met these guys before, and I just heard them say, that sounds like Will's. And then the next thing he said, oh, that is Will's. I'm like, who are they?
It's Ollie, it's Jules.
And yeah, right in that pet cemetery, which is very, very small. It's not a big area.
I know.
It's a tiny little area to like run into people who are from 60. Well, they don't even live around here. They're contracted. Yeah. So that was really...
They went off to Conway Castle and they were going to do the walls, but the walls were closed. Yeah. But anyway.
Anyway, enough about that. Have we got anything else to say today? I don't think we have.
It was just a glorious day. It was hot. It was... Burns, look at this.
It was absolutely beautiful, and it did finally look like Italy. Do watch your first one, or don't watch your first one. It's embarrassing. It's right near the beginning. But man, it hammered down all day, but we finally saw it.
We've been wanting to film this for a long, long time, just wanting the weather.
Yeah.
So the combination of having a day off and the weather being like this has been the first time in 4 years we've been able to do it.
That's bad. Anyway, if you'd like this video...
If you would hit that button, do the subscribe thing. We have got a Patreon.
Yeah.
Check it out. We do stuff on it.
Leave us a comment.
And all of that.
And all of
we
that.
always answer. It's
We
free
do
to
indeed.
do.
We do indeed. And as we say...
In Postcard in the Pint, cheers to the good times. What's it called when a prisoner takes his own mugshot?
I don't know.
A selfie!
Oh...